Making $100,000 a year in California. 100 grand really isn't 100 grand.
So I saw this rant online with so many people complaining how that $100,000 is too small and cannot do anything in this economy. Listen to them, but I'll be right back with my own perspective.
Making $100,000 a year in California is literally nothing. Listen, I'm single. I'm looking for a one-bedroom apartment right now. Can you guess how much it costs? Can you guess how much? $2,700! That's so expensive. And you guys are probably thinking, Adrian, there's ways to go around it. You can get a roommate. I don't want a roommate, okay?
100K a year is not enough money if you're a woman. And here's why. All of the unexpecteds. There's a
Guys, $100,000 a year is not that much money, especially if you're a family. If you've got to pay for rent or mortgage, cars, gas. Here we have experienced so much inflation. And that inflation has caused all those bills to go way higher.
You said on Twitter X that £100,000 is not a huge salary.
I was talking to a constituent who was pointing out to me that, what sounds like a large salary, when you have house prices averaging around £670,000 in my area, if you've got a mortgage and you've got child...
Man, listen, $100,000 ain't no money. I really wish people would stop listening to people that say that, because personal finances, the main word in there is personal. $100,000 to them may not be no money because their lifestyle requires $100,000 or more. But there are some people that are living off of $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 that are at peace, that have some kind of freedom. I know because I work with them. I've also worked with six-figure earners that have to be slaves to maintain that six figure. So don't let social media dictate what is and what isn't money for you. Find out what you...
100 grand really isn't 100 grand anymore. I remember that was my personal goal until I made it. Hey, I want to make 100 grand. And once I made it, I'm like...
Person's upset because I said that $100,000 is not a lot of money.
Oh my God, yes. And I'm so glad somebody finally said it. Okay, I'm so glad, because $100,000 isn't a lot of money.
Okay? I'm barely surviving. The people that have children, I don't know how they're surviving, because me, I don't have any children.
You get them, right? In my opinion, right, I think that you can do a lot with that annual income. Really, you can do a lot. Imagine what that amount is for someone. Let's say you're earning lesser than an amount. For example, let's say you're earning 50, 60. There's so much you can do with that amount, right? And it's easy to think of it as just, let's say, another number, but this can make a whole lot of difference in the life of many people. As in, that's a path where I'm just trying to start from. But then I understand the views of all the people ranting, sincerely. In today's world, for example, when you look at what 100,000 is, it's not really what we used to think of $100,000 to be. It's much more. There's a lot. Like in many major cities, for example, rent alone can eat up a large portion of that income. Yes, and then you want to factor in groceries. Oh my goodness. Yes. I can't even begin to tell you how I tend to strategize and plan sometimes just to ensure that I cut a lot of cost while doing groceries and still ensure that I shop for healthy food items and groceries for my family. So when you think about all this, you can put together and think about the fact that $100,000 is less. For example, consider those who would have to, who need transportation, that maybe they work very far away from where they live, or talk about healthcare. The healthcare contribution from one's paycheck is high, except for those that work in healthcare, right? Then let's talk about utilities. Suddenly $100,000 doesn't feel as much as we used to think it felt like. So I think that's where these people are coming from. For example, look at cities like New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles. The median rent for one bedroom apartment can even exceed $3,000. Yes, I watched a video of a lady who was talking about how her rent grew to, I think, $4,500. So that's a lot. Now, putting that in a year, that's already $36,000 a year, or even more, depending on what the rent is. So it's just a whole lot, I think, coming together that makes this to seem like a very little amount in this economy when you put a lot of things together. Another thing to put into perspective also is the aspect of taxes. Depending on where you live, right, the federal and state taxes could take away 20 to 30% of that income. And suddenly what happens? The $100,000 you felt you had, that was a lot of money, that was this 6 figures, is already getting closer to 70 or even 60 depending on the taxes in that particular state. So I understand where they're coming from. And then another thing I was also thinking about also is debts. For example, let's say you have student loans, and a lot of people have student loans. So you're already starting off with loan, and then many people have credit card debts, then you have car loan. All this will significantly reduce whatever disposable income you have. So the $100,000 is already down to 70 or 60 something, and then rent, and then groceries, and then you're talking about debts. Yeah, so it's a lot. But then I have this video here where I broke down how you can pay down your debts very fast. You can check it out. That would help you on a lighter note. So even after making this $100,000 a year, right, you might find yourself with little or nothing left over for savings or even investment. I noticed that there are lots of people that struggle with investment, struggle with savings, going in and out of savings, dipping into their savings. So it's really a lot. Then talk about those who are raising families also. Like for me, I have a family, my husband, my kids. We talk about the cost of childcare, before care, after care, families that need that, sometimes extra lessons, music classes, some other activities you just want your children to be part of, sports, all this come in. And that's why everyone is ranting that $100,000 is not enough. But what is your own experience? Like, what do you think? What are you earning? If you don't want to share that amount, fine. But what do you think about it? What do you think about this whole conversation? A comfortable lifestyle can start to feel more like a stretch, forcing one to make tough decisions. Yeah, a lot of tough decisions are, you have to make decisions that will align with what you can afford. So it's not surprising at all that it's so difficult for many to achieve financial security in this economy, because you're also trying to maintain a comfortable lifestyle, a lifestyle that would at least make your life worth living, not that you're just struggling. It's not a comfortable place to be in. But one thing I would emphasize, no matter what anybody says, that I would recommend is to ensure that you budget wisely. Yes, budget wisely. In addition to budgeting wisely, one thing you can do also is save aggressively. Yes, it's so important. And then make thoughtful financial decision. In the society we're in, there's this impulsive behavior, impulsive spending, impulsive attitude. Or if you can try as much as possible to make thoughtful financial decisions, work within your means, what you can afford. And the question I know many may ask me right now is that, how do you manage this money wisely, right? Like, how do you ensure that this money works for you? There are so many things you can do. You can even go ahead and research more. But some of the things I can recommend, some practical steps I would recommend is have a financial plan. Yes, have a short-term goal and have a long-term goal, right? You ask yourself questions like, what do I want to achieve, right? Maybe it's financial security, maybe it's education for, let's say, yourself, your children, or you're looking at retiring early. So you want to have a plan. Without a plan, you cannot achieve anything. Then the next thing you want to do also is try to diversify your investment, your income. Try not to put all your eggs in one basket. Very important. Consider mixing what you have. Have something in high yield savings, maybe something in stocks, bonds, or real estate. Okay, let's say real estate, it seems so big for you. There are ways you can get into real estate by just investing in a share of a particular property, and then you're part owner of that property. So that's something you can think about, right? This will help you and help your money grow. This also helps you protect your money from volatility.